There was a baby of 10 or 11 months lying stark naked on the sand. She was covered in sores. We buried her mother already, and I can remember so clearly saying, "You're a goner. You're not going to make it."
When we hear about AIDS in Africa, we're almost always talking about statistics. And while the numbers can be powerful, they can also somehow make it easier because they turn people into a quantity. There's a lot we don't see from a few thousand miles away. So what would happen if we chose to experience the story of AIDS in Africa as it occurs? One name, one face, one at a time.
My name is Abby.
My name is
What you don't see from a few thousand miles away is that AIDS is not just a disease with a treatment.
Drugs form an incredible part, but a very small part of a huge complex problem. It's more a social problem than a medical one.
The thing that's hard for us to understand is that no one has AIDS in Africa. You either have the flu or TB, or you're simply just sick. And you can have it for months and even years before you know.
I've been on ARVs now for 1.5 years.
That ARV's got economical value. So the moment the guy gets better, he will sell his drugs to his neighbor for food. He becomes multi-drug resistant, and he passes over a new AIDS strain that is resistant against ARV.
Because you've got to have 95% adherence. If you don't have that, you're going to get resistance. And I think this is the scary part in Africa.
Treating AIDS in Africa is just the second to last step in a long series of challenges that go much deeper.
So this girl's 9 years old. Her father dies when she's maybe 7. Her older sister and then her mother die when she's maybe 10.
It was their mud hut just behind them, and I was told by the volunteers that that girl of 10 was the head of the house. She was the oldest person in that household.
What you don't see from a few thousand miles away is the human side of this tragedy. These kids are not just hungry, and they're not even just desperate. They're alone.
Don't have an adult person who can look after them.
What we don't see from a few thousand miles away is that this is not just about giving your stuff. When you want to coach or encourage your kids, the fact of being there yourself, sitting on the edge of the bed, delivering that message is the most important part.
Most fathers are not at home, and it's very few fathers who really set aside time to spend with their families.
What you don't see from a few thousand miles away is also what you can't give. The most powerful thing by far is to find some way to give yourself.
I can't say I can't help people in South Africa because I don't have money, but I've got mouth to show love to them. That is what I can give. It's what I have.
This is not about sadness spiraling out of control. This is not about something we must do. This is about what you and I get to do. It's about finding joy in surprising places where, in spite of all that's missing, all it takes is a soccer ball or some rolled up twine and plastic, or even just a look in someone's eye. It's about people working hard, doing everything they can to get ready with just a few pieces missing.
It's her dream to have a 5-room home, made all of these blocks from that sand because she wants to rebuild her house.
It's about single mothers and young men who were once dying on a mat, but now they're volunteering in their communities. It's about becoming each other's missing piece. They add meaning to our wealth, we add hope to their circumstances. Think back to the first clip you saw, that child who was a goner. This is really about how that story can be rewritten.
And I can remember so clearly saying, "You're a goner. You're not going to make it." And she just started fighting like only children can do. And we went through the whole process, and we adopted, and she became our daughter.